Like directly after?
What is going on, you guys? I'm Mike.
And I'm Bree.
Welcome to Fractured Compass, and today we're gonna touch a penguin!
So excited, we're down here in San Diego to check out the penguin encounter and actually go inside the exhibit and touch a penguin, hopefully. I don't know which one though.
I don't know, they said it could either be a macaroni or a
Gentoo.
A Gentoo. I was gonna say chinstrap, but yeah.
I really like penguins.
So I'm excited to just touch one of them, and we're gonna learn a lot about like what they do, how they feed the animals, and just a lot about them. I gotta be honest, I don't know a whole lot about penguins, so this is gonna be really exciting for me.
Penguins are amazing.
Yes, they are. So let's go check out and let's go touch a bird. Woo. So Bree and Jackie, we are inside the exhibit right now. It is 26 degrees. It is cold, but these penguins have so much personality.
I think so far, like the Macaroni Penguin has won my heart. They're so cute.
Go over here right now. Let's show you guys. Trying to soak up some camera.
Extra work. They have a built-in down blanket basically in their life, which is great. Because this is the outer layer, which if you dug your fingers into their feathers a little bit, that's what you would have felt more so. But this is where a big portion of insulation comes from. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Where what they'll do is they will raise up their feathers. They can control their feathers and raise them up, which is great. They will then get the air in between those feathers, in between all the down feathers, and heat up that air with their internal body temperature. It's kind of like us. As we put more layers on, we tend to heat up all that space that's in those layers, and it keeps us warm. They just have it built in that way. So I'm going to ask you guys, what is the internal body temperature of a penguin? Little hint. We are about 98.6, give or take. They're like us having a really bad fever.
104.
102, 104, somewhere around there. It does vary a little bit. They're not quite as specific as we tend to be, where we don't go very far off of 98.6. So 102, 104, somewhere around there. That's very hot. So they will then heat up that air and just keep themselves warm. What's interesting though is that even the warm weather species of penguins will have the same density of feathers for the most part. Maybe a little less. It depends on the individual species, but they still have a lot of dense feathers. They still have that hot body temperature. So they have some adaptations that make them better fit for their environment where it's warmer, like South America. Speaking about like the Magellanics. You'll notice that they have more skin showing on their face, where that's for heat to escape. So like their feathers don't go directly up to their eyes, directly up to their beak. Same with their legs a little bit more too. That way heat can escape. It's kind of like us. We tend to take layers off when it gets hot. That way we let that heat escape as well. They just have it built in that way. Also, instead of lifting up their feathers to trap the air in, they lift up their feathers to let air escape. That way they're not constantly warming up, but they keep them there. And pass this around now. These are their tail feathers. These ones are neat. If nothing else, they feel different for sure than the other feathers that you touched on the bird, the ones I'm showing you right now. The tail feathers are definitely a lot more stiff and sturdy. What's really neat is that some species of penguins, and many of the ones that we have here, have this ability where, because of how stiff these are, and they're all together on their tail, they can actually kind of recline on their tails to get a little bit of relief off of the snow and ice. So it's like having a built-in chair, basically. They're not going to be off the ice like forever, obviously, but to have some relief every once in a while, they can just kind of recline back on those tails, which is pretty cool. So not all species will do this, but many of them will. Many of the ones we have do, which is really cool. And as usual, it would make a nice pen too. Great quill. Now penguins molt, just like birds do in general, but penguins are really neat because they do what's called a catastrophic molt. Where, yeah, exactly. They lose it all at once, basically. The reason for that is as they're molting, they cannot go swimming. And swimming is where their food is at. So, it can be done in like a month. It's pretty fast. They'll beef up beforehand, they'll eat all sorts of food, that way they're a little chubby, you know, they can run off of their fat stores beforehand, but they lose all those feathers at once, the old get pushed out by the new, basically, and then once those waterproof ones are back, they can go in there. What's neat, though, is that the lighting cycle of Antarctica triggers hormones. So we will actually mimic the lighting cycle, where depending what time of year you're here, right now it's pretty bright because it's summertime in Antarctica. It's like wintertime for us. Literally today, it's officially winter. It's great. Winter solstice, 2 p.m. or whatever it is. But if you come here in the summertime, that exhibit is very dark because it's wintertime in Antarctica. And so what we have found is that they're more successful breeding and molting based off the lighting cycle because for whatever reason, I'll leave that to the researchers, it triggers hormones, which is really cool.
Very cool.
You guys feel this. This is a real eggshell.
So here they don't have to do that though, right? Stop on the food because they can just walk up to you guys and get fed.
So technically that's true. They still do though.
They still do?
Yes. The amount of food we give them will vary based off of what is natural to them in the wild, basically.
Okay.
Because they will eat more regardless.
And then they'll stop eating when they're more.
Yeah.
And they just know to not go in the water at that time?
It's just instinctive. Even here, where like they can get all the food they want, they'll still stop eating and just be like, I'm not going in the water, I'm molting.
Cool.
Yeah. It's crazy. They still, even though a lot of these were born here in zoos, have the instincts of just, yeah, exactly. So, what's great about this is this is definitely a little thicker than most of us. Have you ever worked with a chicken egg? Like just eggs in general? Have you ever done baking? I know, I said chicken egg, like it's real weird, just eggs.
Oh yeah.
That's all they are to us. The shell is much more thin, right? In comparison to this. Which, for chicken, that's not as important to be thick. For the penguin, though, it's really important because in Antarctica, especially, it's very cold. So this is insulation.
Weather resistant.
Exactly, weather resistant. This way, if they do end up off the, out of the parent's nest, off of the feet, whatever, and they end up on the ice, this is a little more insulation for them, so hopefully they won't just freeze right away. Because it can easily be like negative 70 degrees down in Antarctica, which is very cold. So, having that insulation is important in case they do fall off, which not all birds, just like humans in all actuality, are not the best of parents. So it even happens here technically where sometimes we have to switch out real eggs with dummy eggs because we have found that some birds are not taking proper care of their eggs. And so we want these eggs to have the best chance of survival. So these are dummy eggs, which is really neat. But besides the color, because the color doesn't really matter, they just happen to be different. What do you notice is different about these? What do you think?
The size.
The size. The reason for that is because these are different species. This one's the emperor penguin. This is a gentoo penguin. So definitely a different size bird. Emperor being the largest one, it's going to have a bigger size. What else is different? Shape. Exactly. One of the interesting things about the shape is that this being more oval is more likely to roll in a circle. If it ends up on the ground, it's more likely to come back to the parent bird, as opposed to this one. Maybe it'll roll in a circle slightly, but not as quickly. This shape, much more likely to just kind of come back around, which is really important for emperors because they live on the actual continent of Antarctica, whereas gentoos will be islands surrounding Antarctica, which we call the sub-Antarctic, which is slightly warmer. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still very cold there, but like these islands right here, if these are the islands and this is the continent, are a little bit warmer, so it's not as detrimental if the eggs end up on the ice. Whereas the emperor, because they go inland very far to lay their eggs, if it ends up on the ice, like every second counts because it's even more harsh and more extreme, a little bit colder. So this coming back to the birds, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Like, they can get to it a lot faster, which is important. So this shape is actually an adaptation for better chance of survival in a harsher environment. Now what's really neat is if you look up there, you'll notice some of them are still going to be a little pointier than others, but at least for the emperor it's really important that it has this oval shape. And those particular eggs are real, which is why I point out the color doesn't matter, since most of those are like white. So upstairs, if the parent birds are taking proper care of the eggs, we're not going to mess with it. We're not going to really, yeah, exactly. It's only if they're not really paying attention, they're being bad parents, then we might go in and switch things out. The ones that are in our incubator machines, we can definitely look at those ones. We still try not to be very hands-on, but...
And those are the ones the parents want to take care of.
And that's kept in their file too, is that year after year, we'll keep track of who is a good parent and who's not. Because sometimes, I know, right? They get a reputation real fast. And who breeds with who? Are they sticking with each other? Are they splitting off? All those types of things. Because then we know, more than likely, we're going to have to use a dummy egg with this particular breed.
So do some of the moms aren't very good moms? Do they leave because they know their eggs aren't fertile? Or do they know? And that's why they don't take calves?
Not always, because sometimes it will be ones that are vital. So I don't know the reasoning why sometimes they're just like, I'm not taking proper care of you.
Yep.
Great question, but I don't know. I don't actually know if there's a reasoning behind it or not. Because sometimes they are vital, but they're just not taking care of.
So Mike, what did you think of penguins?
I absolutely loved it. Macaroni Penguins have won me over.
Yes.
I was so shocked by how, like, just relaxed that penguin was too. Like, a bunch of random strangers just petting him, and he was just like, I'm gonna try to bite that little string on your shirt.
That was
cool.
funny. That was funny. They're super chill and they're super cool, and I'm so glad that we could come down here and take these tours. And if you guys are interested in tours, check out SeaWorld.com. They do a lot of different tours, and you can learn about the conservation program that SeaWorld has here.
And now we can say that we touched a macaroni penguin.
That's right. All right, so from SeaWorld San Diego, the penguin exhibit, always be ready.
Because you never know where your compass will lead you. It might lead you to a penguin.